Rain strikes the roof of an ark in the dark. Outside, the world is disappearing beneath water. Inside, a family waits with no map, no horizon, and no way to know what the earth will look like when the door finally opens. The rain falls for 40 days. Centuries later, Moses disappears into cloud and fire for 40 days. Israel wanders for 40 years. Goliath terrifies an army for 40 days. Elijah crosses a wilderness for 40 days. Nineveh is given 40 days to turn. Jesus fasts for 40 days, and after rising from the dead, he remains with his disciples for 40 days before ascending. The number keeps returning at the exact moments when something is about to end and something else is struggling to begin. Most people are told that 40 means testing, punishment, or trial. That is true, but it is not the whole truth, because the Bible does not simply attach 40 to suffering. It attaches 40 to transition, to exposure, to preparation, to the strange and often painful space between what was and what comes next. Here is the central pattern. The 40 is not the destination, it is the passage. Something enters that passage in one condition. It is tested, exposed, stripped, prepared, or judged. And when the period ends, the story cannot continue in exactly the same way. Sometimes the people inside the 40 are transformed. Sometimes they refuse to be. But the truth is always revealed. We are going to follow that pattern from Noah to Moses, from the wilderness to Goliath, from Elijah to Nineveh, and finally to Jesus. And when we reach the final 40 connected to Christ, we will find something most people never notice. The last major 40 is not a storm, it is not a threat. It is the risen Jesus staying close to people who are not ready to lose him again. But first, we have to go back to the beginning. Genesis chapter 6 describes a world filled with violence. Human corruption has spread so deeply that creation itself seems to be bending under its weight. Then Genesis chapter 7 verse 12 says, "And the rain was on the earth 40 days and 40 nights." This is the first explicit 40 in Scripture. Picture the scene. The familiar world vanishes. Roads disappear. Fields disappear. Cities disappear. Noah cannot look out and see where he is going because there is nowhere left to go. And yet the flood is not only a story of destruction, an ark is already floating, a family is being preserved, animals are being carried through the judgment. Even while one world is ending, the future is being protected inside the vessel. Here is what most people miss. The 40 is not only attached to the world being destroyed, it is attached to the passage between the old world and the new one. Noah enters the ark in one reality, he leaves it in another. After the rain stops, the story uses 40 again. Genesis chapter 8 says, Noah waits another 40 days before opening the window of the ark. 140 closes the world he knew, another 40 prepares him to look toward what comes next. Then Noah steps onto dry ground. He builds an altar. God establishes a covenant. The rainbow appears in the cloud. The storm ends in promise. The 40 is not the destination. It is the passage. The next life shaped by 40 is the life of Moses. Moses lives 120 years, and Acts chapter 7 divides that life into 3 movements of 40. The first 40 years are spent in Egypt. The second 40 are spent in Midian. The final 40 are spent leading Israel through the wilderness. 3 periods. 3 identities in the first. Moses is educated in the wisdom of Egypt. He grows up close to power. He understands the language, culture, and machinery of the kingdom that enslaves his people. He has access. He has training. He has position, but he does not yet understand how God will deliver Israel. At about 40 years old, Moses sees an Egyptian beating a Hebrew. He intervenes, kills the Egyptian, and hides the body in the sand. He recognizes injustice. But he answers oppression with his own strength, on his own timetable, using the methods of the world that formed him, and it fails. Pharaoh wants him dead. Moses runs. The prince becomes a fugitive. Then comes the second 40. Moses lives in Midian as a shepherd. This looks like the part of his life where nothing important is happening. Egypt is far away. Israel is still suffering. Moses is walking behind sheep in a wilderness no one will remember. But the silence is doing something. Then a bush burns without being consumed. God calls his name. Moses, Moses. And the man who once acted before being sent now hesitates when God sends him. Who am I that I should go to Pharaoh? Slow down on this. At 40, Moses appears ready and is not. At 80, Moses feels unready and God calls him. God does not answer Moses by listing Moses' strengths. He says, I will certainly be with you. The calling rests on God's presence, not Moses' self-confidence. The 40 is not the destination, it is the passage. Midian was not where Moses' story died. It was where the version of Moses who trusted his own power had to die. Then Moses returns to Egypt. The plagues fall. Passover comes. The sea opens. Israel walks out of slavery. And the third 40 begins. Israel spends 40 years in the wilderness. Part of that period is judgment. After the spies search Canaan for 40 days, the people refuse to enter. Numbers chapter 14 connects the 40 days of exploration to 40 years of wandering. A generation that will not trust God at the border will not enter the land. But Deuteronomy refuses to describe those 40 years as punishment alone. Deuteronomy chapter 8 says, God led Israel through the wilderness, to humble you and test you, to know what was in your heart. The wilderness exposes them, hunger exposes them, thirst exposes them, delay exposes them. They leave Egypt physically, but Egypt remains inside their imagination. When life becomes hard, slavery begins to look safe because freedom requires trust. And here is the detail that changes everything. While one generation is dying in the wilderness, another is growing up there. Children are born who have never served Pharaoh. They wake to manna on the ground. They follow the cloud by day and the fire by night. Their clothes do not wear out. Their entire understanding of survival is built around daily dependence. The wilderness is both a graveyard and a nursery. One generation is passing away. Another is being formed. The 40 is not the destination, it is the passage. Israel is not simply moving from Egypt to Canaan. Israel is being changed from a population of former slaves into a covenant people. Moses also spends 2 periods of 40 days on Mount Sinai. The first time, he enters cloud and fire to receive the covenant. God gives commandments and instructions for the tabernacle, the sacred dwelling through which his presence will remain among the people. But below the mountain, Israel becomes impatient. The delay feels unbearable. They gather gold, form a calf, and worship something they can see. Think about the contrast. On the mountain, God is explaining how he will dwell among Israel. Below the mountain, Israel is creating a substitute for him. Moses descends carrying the tablets. He sees the calf and shatters them. The broken stone reflects the broken covenant. Then Moses intercedes. He pleads for the people. He asks God not to abandon them. He asks to see God's glory. And then he climbs again, another 40 days. The second ascent takes place after Israel's worst failure so far. During that encounter, God reveals himself as merciful and gracious, long-suffering and abounding in goodness and truth, while remaining just. If this is helping you see the pattern, subscribe and share it with someone who loves discovering how the Bible connects. These studies take time, and your support helps more people find them. Now the number 40 appears on a battlefield. 2 armies face each other across the valley of Elah. Israel stands on one side. The Philistines stand on the other. Then Goliath steps forward. He is equipped like a moving fortress. His armor, height, weapon, and confidence are described to make the emotional effect obvious. 1 Samuel chapter 17 says he presents himself for 40 days, morning and evening. Every morning, the same challenge. Every evening the same retreat. For 40 days, fear becomes routine. That may be the most dangerous thing fear can do. At first it shocks you, then it becomes normal. Saul is king. He should lead, he does not move. Experienced soldiers hear the giant and step back. Then David arrives carrying food for his brothers. He is not sent to fight, he is sent to deliver bread. But he hears the challenge once and reacts differently from men who have heard it for 40 days. Why? Because the soldiers compare Goliath to themselves. David compares Goliath's defiance to the living God. David remembers the lion and the bear. Private deliverance has built a memory of faithfulness before public opportunity arrives. And here is what most people miss. The 40 days do not create David's faith. They create the stage on which it becomes visible. The same 40 that exposes the army's fear reveals the future king. One period, two outcomes. The 40 is not the destination, it is the passage. For Saul's army, it becomes a passage into deeper paralysis. For David, it becomes the doorway through which an unknown shepherd steps into the story of Israel. Centuries later, the number carries an exhausted prophet toward the same mountain where Moses met God. Elijah has just experienced one of the greatest victories in Scripture. On Mount Carmel, fire falls. The prophets of Baal are exposed. Rain returns after drought. Then Queen Jezebel sends a threat. And Elijah runs. A man who stands before hundreds collapses beneath the words of one person. That is not hypocrisy. It is exhaustion. Elijah sits under a tree and asks to die. Picture the scene. The prophet who called down fire is lying in the dust, and God's first response is not a rebuke. It is sleep, then bread, then water. An angel touches him and tells him to eat. He sleeps again. He eats again. Only then does the journey continue. That is the part that should stop you. God does not treat Elijah like a machine with defective faith. He treats him like an exhausted human being. Then 1 Kings chapter 19 says, Elijah travels 40 days and 40 nights to Horeb, the mountain of God. Horeb is associated with Sinai. Moses spends 40 days on the mountain. Elijah travels 40 days toward it. When Elijah arrives, wind tears across the rocks. An earthquake shakes the ground. Fire follows. But the text says God is not in them. Then comes the Hebrew phrase, Kol Demamadaka. It has been translated as a still small voice, a gentle whisper, or a sound of thin silence. After noise comes quiet, and in the quiet, God speaks. He gives Elijah a new assignment. He tells him that he is not alone. 7,000 have not bowed to Baal. And he leads him toward Elisha, the man who will continue the prophetic work. Elijah enters the 40 believing the story has narrowed to one exhausted man. He leaves knowing God's work is larger than he can see. The journey does not erase his pain. It corrects the conclusion he built from it. Have you ever done that? Have you ever taken the hardest fact in front of you and treated it as the entire map? The unanswered prayer, the closed door, the person who left, the diagnosis, the silence. Elijah's pain is real, but his pain is not the whole story. The 40 is not the destination, it is the passage. Some passages do not end by giving you every explanation. They end by giving you enough truth to take the next step. Now we come to Nineveh, a violent city, a feared empire, a place Jonah does not want to see forgiven. Jonah enters the city with a warning, yet 40 days, and Nineveh shall be overthrown. The Hebrew verb translated overthrown comes from the root hapak. It can describe overturning, reversing, or changing something. In destructive contexts, it refers to overthrow. In other contexts, it can describe transformation. The people believe God. A fast is proclaimed. The king leaves his throne, removes his robe, and sits in ashes. The city turns from violence, and God withholds the announced disaster. Here is what most people miss. The 40 days are not merely a countdown to destruction. They are mercy arriving before destruction. A warning means there is still time to respond. Nineveh cannot control God with ritual, but its repentance shows that the warning has reached the heart of the city. The 40 is not the destination. It is the passage. Nineveh enters under judgment. It emerges having received mercy. And Jesus later points back to this moment. He says the people of Nineveh repented at Jonah's preaching, and that someone greater than Jonah is now present. That brings us to the most important 40 in Scripture. Immediately after his baptism, Jesus is led by the Spirit into the wilderness. Matthew chapter 4 says he fasts for 40 days and 40 nights. The echoes are everywhere. Israel spends 40 years in the wilderness. Moses fasts for 40 days. Elijah travels for 40 days. Now Jesus enters the wilderness for 40 days. But he does not merely repeat Israel's story. He rewrites its outcome. The tempter tells him to turn stones into bread. Jesus answers from Deuteronomy chapter 8, the passage connected to manna. Man shall not live by bread alone, but by every word that proceeds from the mouth of God. Israel complained when hungry. Jesus remains obedient while hungry. Then Jesus is challenged to throw himself from the temple and force God to prove his protection. Again he answers from Deuteronomy, "You shall not tempt the Lord your God." Israel tested God in the wilderness. Jesus refuses to manipulate the Father into producing proof. Finally, the kingdoms of the world are offered in exchange for worship. Jesus answers that God alone must be worshipped. Israel formed the golden calf. Jesus refuses the crown offered through false worship. Every answer comes from Deuteronomy, from Moses' words to the generation shaped by the 40 years. Do you see what is happening? Jesus stands inside Israel's story and succeeds where Israel failed. 40 years are answered by 40 days. The faithful son does what the unfaithful nation could not. And here is the detail that changes everything. The wilderness is not an interruption before Jesus' ministry. It reveals what kind of Messiah he will be. He will not use power only to satisfy himself. He will not build faith on spectacle. He will not gain the kingdoms through compromise. He will walk the path of obedience all the way to the cross. The 40 is not the destination, it is the passage. Jesus enters the wilderness before announcing the kingdom. He leaves having rejected every false version of kingship. This also corrects a dangerous assumption. A difficult place is not proof that God has rejected you. Jesus enters the wilderness immediately after the Father declares his love for the Son. Affirmation is followed by testing, not because the Father has changed his mind, because the mission is moving forward. Picture someone sitting at a kitchen table after midnight. A medical letter lies open, a job has ended, a marriage is breaking. A prayer has been repeated so many times that the words feel worn thin. Maybe you know that table. Maybe faith does not feel like victory right now. Maybe it feels like refusing to leave. The pattern of 40 does not give you a countdown. It does not promise that circumstances will change on day 41. It gives you something more trustworthy than a formula. Waiting is not automatically wasted. Testing can reveal what comfort hides. Delay can expose false supports. And God's provision is not limited to the moment the wilderness ends. Manna falls inside the 40 years. The angel brings bread before Elijah's journey. The ark holds while the rain is falling. God does not wait on the far side of the passage. He meets people inside it. Share this with someone who feels trapped between the ending of one chapter and the beginning of another. Not as an easy explanation for their pain, but as a reminder that silence is not always emptiness. Then we reach the final 40 connected to Jesus. The cross has happened, the disciples have scattered, their hopes have collapsed. Then the tomb is found empty. Jesus is alive. At this point, he could ascend immediately. Instead, Acts chapter 1 says he remains for 40 days, presenting himself alive and speaking about the kingdom of God. The final 40 is not a fast. It is not a storm. It is not a threat. It is presence. For 40 days, Jesus stays near people who are trying to understand what has happened. He eats with them. He opens the scriptures. He allows Thomas to confront his doubt. He walks with disappointed disciples on the road to Emmaus. He restores Peter, the man who denied him. He teaches them about the kingdom. He does not rush wounded people into a mission they are not ready to carry. He gives them time with the truth. At the beginning of his public ministry, Jesus spends 40 days in the wilderness preparing for the work ahead. At the end of his earthly ministry, he spends 40 days with his disciples preparing them for the work ahead. The risen Jesus does not stand at a distance issuing orders. He comes close enough to be recognized, close enough to eat, close enough to show wounds, close enough to speak into grief, doubt, failure, and fear. Here is what most people never realize. The final 40 does not prepare the disciples by making them tougher. It prepares them by making resurrection real to them. They will soon face opposition, prison, persecution, and death. Before they face any of it, they receive repeated encounters with the living Christ. The 40 is not the destination, it is the passage. The disciples enter confused and afraid. They leave as commissioned witnesses. That may be the most uncomfortable part of the pattern. We want a test to prove we are stronger than we thought. Sometimes it reveals the opposite. The wilderness may expose an idol we renamed security. Delay may uncover resentment we called wisdom. Fear may reveal that our confidence was resting on circumstances, not God. But exposure is not the same as rejection. Moses' self-reliance is exposed, and God reshapes him. Elijah's exhaustion is exposed, and God feeds him. Peter's failure is exposed, and Jesus restores him. Nineveh's violence is exposed, and mercy is offered. God brings truth into the light, not merely to condemn, but to make repentance possible. So what does this pattern mean for you? First, do not mistake a long season for an empty one. From inside the 40, everything can feel repetitive. Rain again, manna again, the giant's voice again, another mile of wilderness, another morning without an answer. But repetition does not mean nothing is happening. A generation is growing while Israel walks in circles. Elijah is moving toward a word he cannot yet hear. The disciples are becoming witnesses while Jesus sits with them. You may not see what the season is forming. That does not mean nothing is being formed. Second, pay attention to what the season is exposing. When control disappears, what rises inside you? When provision feels late, where does your mind run for safety? When the future becomes unclear, do you wait for God or build something you can see? These questions are not meant to produce shame. They are meant to produce honesty. The wilderness cannot heal what we refuse to name. Third, remember that time alone does not transform. Israel can live beside miracles and still resist trust. An army can hear a threat for 40 days and become more afraid. A king can receive 40 years and end far from the promise of his beginning. Age is not the same as wisdom. Religious information is not the same as obedience. The question is not simply how long you have been in the passage. The question is what you are becoming inside it. And finally, do not wait until the wilderness ends to look for God. Manna is already on the ground. Bread is already beside Elijah. The ark is still holding. The risen Christ is already walking beside disciples who do not recognize him. You may be asking for the final answer while overlooking today's provision. The friend who called, the strength to endure one more day. The verse that would not leave you, the conviction that stopped you from making the pain worse. The small mercy is not the whole resolution, but it is still mercy. And maybe the part that stays with me most is this. The Bible's first great 40 is filled with rain. Its final 40 is filled with the presence of the risen Christ. Between them are deserts, mountains, fear, hunger, failure, repentance, and preparation. But the pattern keeps moving toward the same truth. God is not only the God who waits at the end of the passage, He is the God who enters it with His people. Noah is carried, Israel is fed, Elijah is touched, Jesus is sustained. The disciples are not abandoned. So why does 40 keep appearing in the Bible? Because Scripture repeatedly uses 40 at moments when the old condition can no longer continue unchanged. A world passes through judgment. A prince becomes a shepherd, then a deliverer. Slaves become a covenant nation. A frightened army reveals a faithful shepherd. An exhausted prophet receives a new commission. A violent city is given room to repent. The true son succeeds where Israel failed, and frightened disciples become witnesses of resurrection. The 40 is not the destination, it is the passage, and perhaps that is the question this pattern leaves with you. What passage are you in right now? What has ended, but what comes next has not yet appeared? What is the waiting exposing? What daily provision have you overlooked? You do not need to describe the whole story. Leave one word in the comments: waiting, wilderness, healing, beginning. Someone else may read it and realize they are not the only person standing between chapters. The storm is real, the wilderness is real, the waiting is real. But none of them gets the final word. The rain stops, the mountain is descended, the giant falls, the quiet voice speaks, the city turns, the tempter leaves, the tomb opens, and the risen Christ remains long enough to prepare His people for what comes next. Subscribe if this changed how you see the number 40 in Scripture. Share it with someone walking through a season that feels longer than it should. Pray for us as we keep tracing the details that connect the Bible from Genesis to Revelation. And may the God who never wasted a wilderness in Scripture meet you inside yours, give you daily bread for the passage, and lead you faithfully into what comes next. God bless you.